Hello everyone, welcome to the series of Macroeconomics. This is Dr. Atman Shah. In this video, I'm going to discuss the slope and position of IS curve. You can find more videos on macroeconomics, microeconomics, econometrics, statistics, SPSS, RStudio, MS Excel on my YouTube channel. So don't forget to subscribe and press the bell icon. Now we know that IS curve shows the combinations of interest rates and levels of output where planned spending equals income. And this is the IS equation. Y is equal to alpha G A bar minus BI. In the previous video, I have discussed the formal derivation of the formal mathematical and graphical derivation of the IS curve. So here B is the responsiveness of investment to changes in rate of interest, and alpha G is equal to 1 upon 1 minus C into 1 minus T. And this A bar is nothing but the autonomous spending. So it is C bar, CTR bar, I bar, G bar and NX bar. And this is our IS curve, which is downward sloping because we have inverse relationship between rate of interest and level of income. So as rate of interest increases, level of income will decrease. And if interest rate decreases, income will increase. So therefore, we have negative association between I and Y. Now let's understand the slope of the IS curve. Now slope of IS curve depends on two things. First, interest elasticity of investment and multiplier. These two parameters can affect the slope of IS curve. Let's discuss this. So first we are going to discuss the investment sensitivity with respect to interest rate. Now suppose B is large. That means investment is very sensitive to interest rate. Now what happens? Given the change in I, we have large change in investment because investment is very sensitive to change in interest rate. Now this large change in investment leads to large change in aggregate demand, and this large change in aggregate demand leads to large change in Y. So therefore, if you see the diagram, if interest rate decreases from I1 to I2, that is the given change in I. Now, since B is large, the change in income is also large from Y1 to Y3 instead of Y1 to Y2. And then you join point A and C, we have new IS curve called IS2. And you can see the slope of IS2 curve is less than IS1. That means IS2 is flatter than IS1. So if B is large, we have flatter IS curve. On the other hand, if B is small, that means investment is not very sensitive to interest rate. So in this case, this given change in I leads to small change in investment. That leads to small change in aggregate demand, and therefore at the end we have small change in Y. So suppose IS2 is our original IS curve. Now this decrease in interest rate leads to small change in Y, that is from Y1 to Y2 instead of Y1 to Y3. And therefore slope of IS1 curve is higher than IS2. So IS1 is steeper than IS2. So larger the value of B, flatter the IS curve, or smaller the value of B, steeper the IS curve. So this is how the value of B, the investment sensitivity with respect to interest, affects the IS curve. Now second is multiplier. So if the value of the multiplier is large, alpha G is large. Given change in I leads to larger change in income. That is shown by IS2. Now, IS2 is associated with IS2 is associated with larger alpha G. And if the value of the alpha g is smaller, given change in interest rate leads to smaller change in income. And therefore, we have IS1 curve. So here IS1 curve is associated with smaller alpha g. So that means larger the value of alpha g, flatter the IS curve, or smaller the value of alpha g, steeper the IS curve. Now let's understand the position of IS curve. So suppose we have this original IS curve called IS1. Now position of IS curve changes when the autonomous spending changes. So we know that autonomous spending A bar is equal to C bar, C TR bar plus I bar plus G bar plus NX bar. Now, if there are favorable changes in autonomous expenditure or autonomous spending, the entire IS curve shifts to the right to IS2. You see the diagram. We have new IS curve, that is IS2. So here rate of interest remains the same, but due to autonomous spending, the entire IS curve shifts to the right. Similarly, if there are unfavorable changes in autonomous spending or autonomous expenditure, the entire IS curve shifts to the left without changing the interest rate. So now I1 is associated with income level Y3, and therefore we have new IS curve called IS3. So IS3 shows the leftward shift in the IS curve, and IS2 shows the rightward shift in the IS curve. So this is how the position of the IS curve is determined. If you find this video useful, kindly like, share, comment and subscribe. Thank you.